Hey, welcome to the Fireside. This is Sean from Firekeeper Studios, and today we're talking to King, Jill, and Gio Davinci of the Cambridge Hip Hop Collective and the Bridgeside Cypher. Stick around after the conversation for a performance of a new song by all three of them called Dream Team Complete, produced and engineered by me. Enjoy. You guys want to really get into it?
Yeah, we're just going to warm it up. It's all a part of it, you know?
Yeah.
Get the chemistry going.
Yeah, so how's everything going, guys?
Good.
Yeah?
Yep, really good.
That's good. It's snowing outside, but we got the fireplace, and so we're nice and cozy.
Yeah.
Keeping the fire.
Right.
No idea when this is going to come out, but right now it is, January 6th?
Already, right?
January.
Right? No, 7th. I don't even know. 6th, 7th?
First storm of the year, though.
7th, yeah.
Yeah,
first,
7th, yes.
We had to make it. We had to trek through the snow, 5 miles, but we made it.
I hope that wasn't too bad.
We did.
But appreciate you guys all coming out.
I feel like that movie Fargo. You ever seen that?
It's been a long time, but yes, I have seen it.
It's up cold and
Yeah.
stormy.
So would you all mind introducing yourselves real quick?
Sure. You want to start that way? Or?
Yeah, I'm King.
I'm just Jill.
And I'm Gio Davinci.
Nice. And you all run the Bridgeside Cypher.
Yes.
Yeah, we're all kind of co-organizers of the Bridgeside Cypher.
Cool.
The team.
Yeah. How long have you all been doing that?
Yeah.
Formally, as a group, we've been doing it a little more than 3 years. And the Bridgeside Cypher, I would say, is a little bit over 5 years old now.
Okay, yeah.
And then, it was kind of just started out a little bit more informal. And then the last 3 years, we formed a nonprofit called the Cambridge Hip Hop Collective. So that's kind of like the nonprofit entity. Yeah. But we still host our marquee event called the Bridgeside Cypher.
Cool. What is a marquee? Is just like a mix, or what does that word mean?
I think I just meant the main, our...
Okay, flagship event.
Flagship, yeah.
Cool.
Am I using that word right? Is that?
Yeah,
that's what it means, right?
Yeah.
Marquee
Marquee is
event.
signature.
Yeah,
right.
there you
cool.
go.
Yeah. No, I've been to...
Maybe I'll switch it to signature event like that.
No, marquee is the word.
Both of them, yeah.
I usually say the Cambridge Hip Hop Collective are the host of the Bridgeside Cypher.
Yeah,
okay, that makes more sense.
The Bridgeside Cypher is the event.
Yeah.
The Cambridge Hip Hop Collection is the foundation.
Yeah.
The organization of us,
Is the collective just you three, or are there more than that even?
Yeah, there's technically a board.
Okay.
So more kind of hands off, but we're the operating, 3 of us work operating it and doing the day to day.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely have people in our network. I would consider them affiliates of us.
Yeah.
Cool. And is there an elevator real short pitch for what the Bridgeside Cypher is, how do you really quick convey what it is to someone?
Yeah, just our
You
mission,
got the mission on deck?
Yes, I do have the mission on deck. You know the vibes.
Let's go.
Yes. So the Bridgeside Cypher, or the Cambridge Hip Hop Collective, we have our mission statement, which is to build bridges with other communities through hip hop.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is that where the name originates, or what's in the name?
Yeah, the bridge kind of references Cambridge. So,
I didn't even think about that the whole time. Oh
originally,
my God.
Bridgeside kind of came out of growing up in Cambridge, and people call it the bridge. So that's where the Bridgeside comes from.
Yeah.
And then, it's kind of where the brand was born.
That makes a lot of sense.
But we have definitely tried to, use the second purpose as building bridges between different people and organizations, and it is kind of a big piece of our branding too, is building bridges.
Yeah, no, that's really clever. I think because you guys got started in the graffiti alleyway, right?
Yeah.
For some reason in my head I was like, oh, that must be the bridge that they're talking, but it's not a bridge. I don't know why I thought that.
That's true, because then we'll also be at the skate park, which is right underneath the bridge.
Oh, okay.
And then this logo is from the Longfellow Bridge, where you take the train over, so obviously there's bridges around Cambridge too.
Bridges on bridges on bridges.
Yeah. Show us the merch, the drip here.
Yeah. You got the bridge on the shirt too, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Right.
Here,
Yep.
There
Yeah,
you go,
so
there you go.
one of our logos is the Zakum Bridge, so
Cool, yeah.
or resembles it.
Cool. Is this merch all for sale right now, or what's
That's
the
right.
story?
That's
on that?
right. Yeah,
Nice.
we got the varsity jackets just came in, so you can hit them up, and then we got the jerseys customizable, or you can get it with no name on the back.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Cool.
Yep, we just Bridgeside on the back, or your name. And,
Yeah.
And Jill, we got extra hot
I
girl
know, right?
cypher.
So we got Hot Girl Cypher too, which was a women empowerment cypher I've been throwing over the past past 2 or so years. So
Cool.
yeah, and I collaborated with my mentor Nancia. So we have her Queenality logo on the back. So we kind of
cool.
like, did a collaboration thing. So
Yeah, no, that's
we
really
selling
cool.
those too.
Awesome. Yeah, very cool. So that was were both of those in 2023 or?
2023 and 2022. Sorry.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was curious. One of my questions for you guys was like, what did you have any favorite or highlight events from 2023? What were some of the high points?
For myself, I mean, yeah, there was a bunch of really good stuff. I mean, we got a really good pace in this last year that came up. I felt like I really enjoyed the Hot Girl Cypher. That was a really good one.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. There was some skate parks.
Yeah.
That we had. The first one or two was kind of like held back by weathering.
Yeah, that can be. Yeah.
And then because raining and stuff. And then we had this last one. I forget what month it is. Maybe you know. Maybe you remember.
Yeah, September.
Actually, the September one was real good.
The skate park?
We had a skate park in September, and then everyone was waiting for that event for it to be on a really good, nice day, and so everyone just came out from the past like 3-4 years, and it was just
That's awesome.
cookout vibes, like chill hangout vibes, and that was probably my other favorite.
No, that sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like my favorite from 2023, definitely Hot Girl Cypher. It's been something I've been working on for a while now.
Yeah.
So I want to make it more of an annual thing.
Yeah.
Also, the Graffiti Alley Cyphers. We initially started there, so it was really good to come back to the Graffiti Alley and just kind of...
Origins.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, we had 2 shows at Starlight Square, which is one of our regular venues. And so in July, Jill did her album release party.
Nice.
That was one of my favorites. Womanhood was
that one too. Yeah,
that was special. And then in September, Gio featured as well. Gio and Paul Willis, and so to get to see the 3 of them doing like featured sets, those were my favorite.
Wow. Yeah. No, it sounds like there was a lot of really great stuff. I want to go to more. I always have because when you're an audio engineer, everyone always wants to book at night and like not during regular work hours. So I'm always like tied up for like the cool events that are happening. It's really not ideal in that way, but it's a cool job, so I can't really complain, I guess.
Maybe you can come out to one of our events to do like live podcasting. That'd be great.
That would be interesting. Yeah. No, I'll have to think about that. That's not a bad concept to think about.
Yeah, when we did like Hot Girl Cypher, we did a lot of interviews like towards or during the intermission and at the end. Yeah. So that would be cool.
Yeah.
I was curious. You said that you've been working a lot on the Hot Girl Cypher. What kind of goes into what does that look like working on it? What goes into constructing one of these events?
So I would say the first one took me about a year to do with my mentor. So she was a co-host, Nancia, and she really helped guide me along the way throughout the whole year. Originally, we wanted to do it on Valentine's Day.
Okay. And
we took a step back and just put a lot of work into it and a lot of thought. When it came to the lineup was a lot of women artists and female artists over the years of our ciphers and like the different quote-unquote generations of the Bridgeside Cypher collaborating. So like between that and then finding the venue, we had it at the Multicultural Arts Center, which is in Cambridge. Pretty close to the skate park too, actually. But yeah, so just a lot of logistics like that. What we wanted the vibe and like the message to be also. I think when people hear Hot Girl, there's kind of just like, you think of Meg Thee Stallion and like that kind of like particular artist. But for me and the message I wanted to bring for Hot Girl Cypher was like they're all different shapes, styles, sizes of women. So it was really just a collaboration and all of us being our true, authentic selves. So it was really diverse and pretty like emotional and beautiful to watch. So
absolutely.
So super proud of that, and putting all that work into it. It really paid off.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, no, it sounded, I think I did some of the mixing on the audio from that, and it sounded like everyone was having a really good time. So,
yes. Yeah, we had a live band backing us up.
Cool.
So, yeah, it was super fun. So we picked a lot of different recognizable songs. We're all 90s kids, so
Sure.
it was like all the classics and stuff that we had women singing over. So we had the band doing that, and we each performed like a written verse or a freestyle over it.
Cool.
We had a rehearsal before it, so we all prepared, and even that was super fun.
Yeah, I bet.
That was its own like event. It felt like too.
Totally.
So
Cool.
So yeah, like we put a lot of work into it, and it was very successful. And I'm really proud to see it. I want to make it an annual thing. So
Yeah, no, I think that's a great
so
idea.
yeah, so far so good.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I'm curious, like, I feel like a lot of people, some artists I've worked with, and even myself, have thought about throwing events in the past, and even, like, right now, I think for the future, it'd be a cool thing to do. How do you go about, like, finding, just for the people listening, like, how do you go about finding a location if you're ever interested in throwing, like, a show or a big event like that?
Well, I mean, it depends on what kind of show, right? There's so many different variables, what you want to accomplish with the show. So before you find a venue, I would sit down and I would figure out why you're having the show,
Right.
what impact you want to have on people coming to the show, kind of what's the story behind it, you throwing this event. Then you take that information, right? Okay, I want to impact people in a clubby vibe. I want them to come out and say that, we're all together, and, I want you to bask in the ambiance or something. Then maybe you get a club, right? Or if you say, hey, I just want to build something out for the community that makes it feel like walking in your neighborhood is powerful and fun. And then, okay, then you get a block party. And so really, when you start thinking about events, it is something where you might be heavily thinking about where you want to do it, but missing out on some of those other aspects first can really hinder the experience that you give people.
Like, what type of event is it to begin with?
Yeah, what kind of event is this? Like, what do I want people to know about this event? Or how do I want them to interface with this, party or whatever type of fundraising event that you would have?
Yeah, I think also ultimately it is hard to get started, and it's hard to find venues to book, especially if you don't have experience, hosting shows.
It's a skill.
And we've talked about it a lot. I mean, like, that's really where the Cypher came from, right?
Right.
Not having a place, just
go to the street.
Yeah.
There's so many gatekeepers in terms of the venues. It's very hard to book hip hop shows, for different reasons. As I'm learning, even just for insurance reasons, some venues don't even have insurance to cover hip hop or heavy metal or certain types of genres.
Really?
And that's something I
It's
learned
a
recently.
genre thing?
It's a genre, like insurance companies have different rates based on the genre.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was a nuance. I just realized.
Who makes the list of genres? Like,
and or like what defines the genre?
yeah,
so
it's like, it's so weird that's in the laws.
It's interesting because we spent years, shitting on all the venues, being like, oh, you guys are ridiculous, not booking hip hop shows.
Yeah.
And I have started learning it's even deeper, right? Even they don't have the insurance to cover it because insurance companies are actually defining what hip hop shows, need insurance and stuff. So
that's really interesting.
It's a few levels deep, but I also think important is just go to a bunch of shows, go to the shows in the scene. If you're trying to throw, a small show, go to some small shows. People are always obvious, maybe you have experience going to the biggest shows and that's your end goal, but go to some of the smaller venues, check out what's going on, check out what people are doing, what works, what doesn't work, shape what kind of show you want to throw, and then also a good place to talk to people, talk to other promoters, and get some feedback on what are some good venues and kind of like what's a good place to start.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel like being in person and trying to meet people that way is extremely. I'm not sure what the word for this is, but it's like a smallish thing that can lead to just branching off like infinite other things,
Yeah.
Very important, I think, for if you want to have any kind of like network or do something that involves other people,
Right.
Yeah. Kind of crucial to go out and like actually meet people and interface with people and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
We have a little problem.
What's the problem?
Incense.
Oh, I didn't. Damn, I've been burning this incense at the start of every episode to keep track of how much time has passed. But this is the second time I've forgotten to light the incense.
You had one job. No, I'm just kidding. Or a couple of jobs.
It's a lot to think about. Should I do it or just forget it? All right.
Here you go, Gio.
Oh, you want to do it?
Hey, Gio with the assist.
Hey, maybe we should have the guest light the incense. That's kind of nice.
That'd be more smart.
Very good.
Cool.
Wow, the ceremonial lighting of the incense.
Yeah.
So now we're really starting. Now we really cooking.
That's
Now it's a party.
now we're getting crazy for sure. Yeah. Thank you for doing
Getting
that.
wacky out here.
Cool. So it sounds like the Cypher has kind of evolved quite a lot over the 5 years.
Yeah, about 5, or I should say 6, almost 7
Coming
now.
up on 6 years, I would say.
Yeah.
Cool.
About 6
Yeah.
years.
Do you have any specific vision for where you want it to go, or is it just kind of like this evolving thing that's taking its own path to some extent?
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, it consists of, the people who utilize it, the artists that come to our shows. And so, yeah, I mean, I know, and I can only speak for myself, but we're pretty much in line with a lot, which is, we want to be a platform to go as high as people can take it, and so, we want to just continue to produce the people in our network, make sure that they gain more success in what they're doing and kind of help out and really just have that community of artists for artists at any level, like musicians at any level to come out and in any stage of their career, whether it be the first time that they performed or the 1000th time that you have a place where you can come and feel heard and validated and also network. We've had bands grow out of just coming to our ciphers, and now people are networking. We've had DJs come out, and then now they DJ for other events, and
cool. Yeah.
So it's a lot of things like that. That's just be a conduit, right? Continue to grow the community. I know that the biggest thing that I see is the impact that we're having on artists in the greater Boston and Cambridge area.
Right. Yeah. If you have a platform that has a certain amount of follower count, virality type stuff, people are gonna increasingly keep going to you to get that audience and stuff. And I think that makes sense.
I think with the ciphers, because with the traditional cipher, if you're not familiar with it, it can be pretty intimidated. If you aren't really that experienced with rapping and things, it could be very intimidating and you can be hesitant to go in. So the fact that we're having artists of all experience levels and all, different backgrounds and ages, it makes it easier and a lot less more intimidating and, more accepting. Not too much judgment because... So I think it's about the community and just growth and all of that stuff and really taking care of the artist and having a space for them to do that.
Yeah, I think each year we'll kind of have new ideas or new types of shows we want to try and put on or do something different that we haven't done before. But I think one goal is also just to kind of maintain the sustainability of what we've been doing and kind of not lose track of just continue to maintain a monthly space that people can come and rap and practice and network and stuff. And we do have lots of, fun ideas of things we want to try out or maybe, places we want to branch off to, other institutions we want to work with, other venues we want to throw events at. But we don't want to lose what we also have and kind of what allowed us to kind of grow into, just a network of artists in the city.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think there's definitely something to be said for consistency and maintaining, because you do have something that's really great. So why not just keep maintaining that and letting it be this great thing and become more of a fixture than it already even is. So I think that makes a lot of sense.
Right. That seems to be the answer a lot of times. If you're doing something right and it's getting the right kind of attention, the best thing you can do is to continue to maintain the consistency in whatever it is that your art form is, right?
Yeah.
And another thing is just integrating more things, more different types of artists, right? Like podcasting is a type of art, right? There's engineering, there's a bunch of different avenues that haven't been explored, let's say at a live show, right? That still, you know, I'm always trying to wrap my head around different ways to integrate different features into a show that maybe you haven't seen at this at the level that we're at. Or
Yeah, sometimes we'll have visual artists who will come also.
Yeah.
Which really diversifies it, and I really like that. Because it's just like it's all of us expressing ourselves. So it's really cool to have some visual artists come that we've met over the years as well. And
one big thing is this year, that's unique to this year that in the past, you know, we haven't had this exact thing is, there's a music festival that we're going to head the hip-hop stage at. So this is our first time managing a stage at a festival, the Homie Collective. And actually, I'd known about that through Aaron. He was a connect on that. And so we showed out to the last 3 times, right? Or was it 3 times?
2 years in a row, yeah.
Two years in a row, yeah. Last 2 years in a row. And we kind of like just pulled up and like threw our cypher, you know, twice. The first time it was just kind of like impromptu. They call that renegading, right? And we found this spot. People go together, or we go together. People go together is with Daniel, this guy. He kind of like has a tenant infrastructure. So we threw it there. It was successful. Anyway, so this year we were put on the card because of that. And we kind of like took over the stage unofficially. And so then kind of proved to the promoter that we can do that. And this year we're going to officially, you know, book out and head that whole stage. And so that's something this year that one of our goals is to like promote that and see more people in our community come out to these music festivals, because it's a whole nother scene that it's not that far away. It's in Maine, right? And a bunch of artists, if they seen what's happening up there, they will go crazy, you know?
Yeah, so we kind of started the cypher on the street, very old school hip hop, you know, boom bap, most of the beats. Maybe we have a few faster beats to kind of like catch the new wave, but you know, underground hip hop was our core. I think since then, we tried to branch out a little bit, you know, so we've learned how to bring in a live band. I think that also kind of naturally brought us to kind of start working with more R&B artists. So we've done a lot of events will kind of infuse R&B now. We did an R&B cypher that was really successful last year. We're excited to keep that going annually. Cool. And then like Gio said, also kind of we're connecting with like the electronic music scene and like the music festival scene. So we've brought the cypher to a few music festivals in New England. Really excited for bringing the Bridgeside Cypher to the Homie Collective August 1st to August 4th.
Cool.
And yeah, just kind of like, I think we'll end up booking a few different acts, kind of put together our set. And it's cool to kind of bring it to a new community like that. The festival scene is very welcoming. They love, you know, encouraging everyone to be themselves, to kind of express themselves. And so there's a lot of alignment we see like with the cypher. But there's also a lot of people who come to our cyphers and are kind of in the hip hop scene who've never seen that world. You know, I've never gone to a sleepaway music festival where there's all different types of genres being played. So really excited to kind of bring the hip hop to the festival scene like that.
Yeah, that's cool. So that's another bridge that you were talking about earlier, I guess.
Exactly.
That's really cool. Yeah. Jill, you were talking earlier about like new people going to a cypher for the first time, like performing for the first time. I was curious if you have any advice on like first time people who are interested in going to a cypher. Like, do you write something beforehand? Do you come up with just concepts beforehand? What's the process of like doing your first cypher?
I think with us, we have a lot less, we're less judgmental. A lot of times with hip hop, you know, there's a lot of people they have like a certain standard. So it's like only freestyling. And if you're stumbling, like you're out, like you're taking too long and things of that nature. I know with my first cypher, it was probably, I want to say, 2 years before I got involved with Bridgeside.
Okay.
Aaron mainly started Bridgeside in Cambridge, so I've dabbled a little bit, but I was very hesitant because of that. And, you know, I'm a female rapper, and a lot of times there's a lot of, what's the word?
Masculine energy.
Yeah, thank you. Masculinity and like
Sure,
energy, and I'm short. I'm only 5 feet, so you know, it was intimidating for me, and like I had
She
my
stands 6 feet tall in the Cypher.
yeah,
though.
but now, yeah, exactly. Thanks, Aaron King. But in the beginning, though, it was intimidating, and it even with freestyling, like I had my own journey with freestyling, so I wasn't like fully confident because of that. So I just think from a female perspective, sometimes it can be like pretty big. So
Right.
I think with us, though, it is a lot less easier in a sense because we're not critiquing you the entire time.
I mean, more easy.
a lot easier.
A lot, yeah,
Right.
a lot easier.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes more
But
sense.
what you were just saying, right? That you know, the first time Jill rapped, we remember it, and she had a verse. You know, so
right.
that is one thing as a distinguishing difference between other ciphers. And while in some ways other ciphers are more judgmental, there's also other ciphers where, let's say, they're more old school in that like you can only freestyle. I mean,
Right.
like you can only do off the top lyrics. You can't come with a memorized verse.
Right.
And that was just something that wasn't really like a strict standard that we had. And so we would be practicing our new verses that we wrote to different beats, and that was kind of part of the cipher. And so
Right.
I think that helped. And Jill, you know, the first time she rapped a verse and killed it. And I don't know if you want to talk about like your
Yeah.
experience with that or
Yeah.
recommendation to other people with that.
Right, right. I was, you know, my first time at Bridgeside, I came initially as a supporter.
Okay.
I rapped since, well, at the time, it was like 2018. So I was rapping since, I want to say 2012. So I had a ton of verses in my bag.
Sure,
And
yeah.
I was going to the studio, but I was doing everything very low key. It slowly took me a while to do like the SoundCloud thing.
Yeah.
And then when I found out about Bridgeside, and I was like, oh, Aaron King, we went to high school together.
Oh,
like,
cool.
Yeah. Fun fact.
Nice.
But we can get into that. Yeah. So like, when I found that out and I went to like about 2 of them, I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to do my thing. Like, there were a few other female artists that were encouraging me. So I was like, okay, like I can get with this.
I think Hope was there at that time.
Yeah,
right?
Hope It Dope. Shout out Hope It Dope. Yeah, she was the one who like really encouraged me, and I just saw how the chemistry between everyone
Right.
is what really inspired me to
sure.
like do your thing. You can rap.
I think you should definitely, if you're thinking about being in a cipher, you should attend a cipher, and just like as an audience, like watch,
Right. See
what the culture is of that cipher, meet people, talk to
Right.
talk to them, ask them, you know, and then you know, that's a good way to start.
Yeah. And that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I feel like that's some good advice and guidance in there. Yeah, I feel like having an experience where someone else validates your skill set or your creative like spirit or whatever is like pretty crucial, I feel like, to a lot of artists' development. So especially like offering a place where that is more likely to happen and it's more welcoming, that's like that's a really cool
Yeah,
thing.
big time, because it's like you're here and people are sensitive about their shit, just
Right.
like the famous Erykah Badu said. So
Right.
it can be very personal to you, and you know, you know, do I really want to put myself out there like
Right.
that? So,
Yeah.
yeah, it can, like I said, it can be a little intimidating sometimes when you're not like have full confidence in that. If you're not like, you know,
Yeah.
that experienced in ciphers or just performing in front of people, period.
Sometimes, especially at a lot of our events, there's usually like an arc, right? So in terms of attendance, in terms of like kind of how really like going the event is and how many people are there and how many rappers are participating, right? It starts off as just like 4 of us in the street with the beat and everyone's kind of looking at us like, who the fuck are these people, right? And then we slowly kind of draw a crowd and then it kind of, you know, peaks, but then it kind of tailors off. And I think like kind of understanding that arc also is a good way to kind of get involved because it might be hard at the peak to jump in, right? When we have a crowd of 50 people on the street and everyone's kind of going in and the best rappers are going and kind of showing off their best stuff versus like if you wait till the end and it's just 8 of us kind of winding down and now it's more just like pure freestyles and everyone's just like fucking around. I think like I'll get feedback from a lot of friends, like friends that I grew up with, and we would just always like be freestyling casually, but then like they come to the cypher and it's a little, you know, it's a little too much, or it's like it's lost that just like we all just like kicking it, smoking on the corner type of vibe. But then towards the end it kind of devolves and then everyone kind of gets their turn to just fuck around and stuff. So sometimes it's a lot more kind of casual at the beginning and the end of the cyphers.
Cool.
I agree.
Yeah, that makes sense. Different energies throughout the event and stuff. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, almost like different space utilization.
Right.
You know, with the different amount of people being there. And that's something that we prioritize is in each state of the arc, right? It being as welcome as possible and being true to what's actually happening in the cypher. And that's one of our main things is like, we don't want to like pull a crowd and sometimes you see that they're chill and you're trying to like, you've seen like people are trying to like overperform to them and they're try to be hype when they're just chill, right? Then you'll see another performer go and they'll meet the audience where they're at and then they can take them on that ride. And so we're constantly trying to capture the state of the individuals that are making up the cypher, and kind of be authentic to that moment, you know.
Kind of like a DJ. Sort of.
Kind of like that, curation, for sure.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I wanted to talk too about like you three as individuals and artists. How did you all start making music, and what motivated you or inspired you to start that like process?
Jill, you want to start?
Sure. Me personally, I've always had music in my DNA. So grew up in a very musical household. I never thought music was meant for me because I had like, you know, my older brothers into hip hop and my dad was a jazz musician.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so I thought that was like, at least when I was younger, like their thing. And I was like into hip hop and stuff. So one of my family members, my sister, she always says, Jill wasn't looking for the rap game. The rap game looked for Jill. Yeah. So when I started music, it was more like off of the strength of my friends rapping.
Okay.
And so we went to a studio for the first time, or I went to a studio for the first time in 2013. And I was like, whoa, like this is legit.
Yeah.
And it just inspired me ever since. And I was like, I need to keep writing. I need to record this. Yeah. Cool. And so that's what really inspired me, was going to the studio.
Yeah.
And I think that was like, that was a lot of where my growth was as an artist. And it really prepared me to be able to go in front of other people, in front of other artists and perform. Just being younger, like even in my childhood, I was always very like, I'm gonna be a star. Not to sound like cocky or anything, but like that was just like my thing. I feel like a lot of times, like when you're like a younger, like a little girl, like it's always like, I'm gonna be a singer or anything like things of that nature, or you know, an actress and stuff. So that's how I was in my childhood, but. Yeah, that's kind of how I came up. Like, it was really just very personal at the studio, being super consistent with my music, and then, like, showing my friends and them really being proud and, you know, promoting me. And, like, I wasn't really ready for it at the time, but I'm glad they did because, you know, where I'm at now with Aaron and Gio. So, you know, that's where... I think I started really as an artist and a creative.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably better to be pushed along a little faster than you're expecting than to not get that at all, you know?
Right, because it's like when you're an artist, or just like even if you're not an artist, a lot of times we can get in our heads about stuff and overthink.
Totally.
And I'm definitely one of those people.
Yeah.
But then I have, you know, folks like Gio and Aaron, and like they help me and, you know, guide me. To be my best
Yeah, we got each other, you know.
Yeah, that's great.
So it's really
There's times
helpful.
where I'm like, Jill, like I gotta talk to you.
Yeah, well, it's like,
She's like, hold on, I'll take a break. I'm at work. I'm like, all right, yo, because it's crazy right now. I need help.
But it's really important to have a good support system and like, just having that support system to really,
Just help, right?
just, remind you that, you are doing a good job. Like, don't knock yourself too much. Like, give yourself some grace.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree totally. And as far as myself, actually, can you restate the question?
Oh, I was just wondering, how you got into music and what inspired and motivated that. Yeah, just broadly,
Yeah. So, interestingly enough, I mean, so I'm Puerto Rican and my family loves music just in general, like Spanish music, right? My grandfather listening to salsa and merengue and stuff like that. And then but then I would have my uncles, which like they're Generation X, which is like 80s, right? And I would go up to his room, shout out to my uncle Jose, and he would have like DMX playing, like the album, and like Big Pun playing, like and it wouldn't be the stuff you would hear on the radio. You'd hear. I remember like just being like in the back of, I don't know, like my stepdad's car, and would go to like buy like Burger King, and like you hear Hypnotized on the radio, and that's radio music, and you're like, okay, like it's a jam,
Yeah.
And then I remember hearing like an album, like the first one of the first songs I remember, and it's just pure coincidence, was the track. Used to be my dog, it was in my left titty. It was like Jadakiss and DMX. And so I just remember like hearing like the contents of that music being unlike anything I've ever heard. Being like, wow, like you can put different kinds of information into music other than partying and that type of sort of thing. So that was like younger. I was like 9, 10. I say around 12, I had an older friend. Shout out to Vid. We all know Vid. He's the homie. He's 4 years older.
Visionary.
Vid the Visionary, yeah. Shout out to Vid the Visionary for sure. That's the homie. Like I've known him since I was 4 years old.
Cool.
Like his mom and my mom were friends. They met. And so anyways, I'm 12. He's like 16 at the time. He's 4 years older than me. And he had started rapping. And like before then, it didn't really click to me that, that's something that I can do. That's something that you see on MTV, BET. But then when I saw my friend that I knew for a long time, he was rapping and like he was really good. It took me a long time to really catch up to him. It kind of just clicked for me like, wow, like okay, it's not magic, right? It's music, and if I tried hard and I asked questions, like I can also rap as well. And so I went to school, and I was in ELA class, and I told my teacher that I wanted to rap, and she was like, well, if you want to rap, then maybe you can start off with poetry. And so, started writing, like, just kind of, like, poems and stuff. Like, I wouldn't even remember what they were about, right?
Sure.
Just trying to be creative. So that got me into, like, metaphors and, like, syllagic structure and, like, creating a story within your stuff. And then, that's where I started. I started rapping around, like, 12.
Cool.
Wow. But just like kind of like messing around. I was known as the rapper in middle school with one of my other friends. We was like the rappers in middle school. Every middle school has one, right? The two rappers. Hey, that guy raps. And so, and then so you kind of you don't take it seriously you take it seriously for a while as a kid, but then like you get a little older, you don't take it seriously as much. I'll say around 19, 20 was the first time I went to the studio. Jill, and then that's what inspired me as well, being like, wow, like hearing myself, having an MP3 of yourself, being able to listen to it.
Yeah.
It's like, it feels like something external was created, right? And so I got obsessed with that. And then I met an old gentleman by the name of Kenny, that so when I first started rapping, let's back up for a second. Let's save that for a thought. It was around like the metaphor era, like a lot of Cassidy, a lot of different type of rappers, Jadakiss, punchline rappers were out, so everyone was rapping like that, just metaphors, punchlines, right? Pull up in the truck the same color as mustard or something like that. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
And so, but then I met my older homie at the time. He was like in his 30s when I was in my 20s, and he introduced me like Wu-Tang and things like that. And then that's when I really found out that you can just say some really like crazy stuff, and it doesn't have to be a metaphor.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. And so, okay, so I'm almost done. It's been out for a while. Okay, and then
worries.
so I say like, okay, so going to the studio for a little while, trying to get better at that. It's a completely different art than knowing how to rhyme. Sounding good on the microphone.
Projecting and stuff, yeah.
Projecting, tone.
Yeah, and conveying emotion and
breath control.
Right,
Not just yelling.
there's a lot.
Delivering,
Yeah.
right? So then I started. So then Vid and I were still hanging out at the time, right? We're childhood friends, and then we kind of just noticed that we needed to get out there in the scene and start rapping with people and start getting shows. And we didn't really see any opportunities that were homegrown and organic enough for us because, a lot of the scenes in the city were like, they were already going, right? For like years, since the 90s, 80s and stuff. And so we started Exceptional Minds, and that's like similar to what we're doing at Bridgeside, but just on a different scales. Him and I, and we would create shows just curated around the artists. Actually, Aaron's been to he was at a few of those back in the day, and that's actually
that's how we met. Yeah,
that's how we met.
Oh, cool.
Just kind of like promoting on the scene and doing shows. He was doing shows on the scene, and so were we. And so that actually goes into us meeting as well. A lot of it. I met him like one day after a show that we were doing in Central Square. He was hosting like an after party at his crib, and we just pulled up, and it was mad hip hop vibes, and then history since then.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
Compact story of your rap life right there.
Right, was it a good story?
Yes.
there's a lot to cover.
Yes.
All right, yeah.
The origin of Gio Davinci. His origin story.
When did you come up with the name?
Yeah.
Gio Davinci, I came up with that like right as I was starting Exceptional Minds.
Okay.
And I was just kept thinking like, okay, well, I'm a rapper. What name do I use, right? Then everyone starts off with like a crazy name that has nothing to do.
I was gonna say, did you have any other versions?
Yeah.
Did you workop it with Vid a couple times?
Yeah.
I know, we never really asked you or asked about our names.
Yeah, just ridiculous stuff. And then
Just saw a painting one day, that's all.
Yeah,
No.
So then Gio Davinci. So then my name is Giovanni. My real name is Giovanni. And so Kendrick Lamar had come out, and that's his real name, right? Kendrick Lamar. And I was like, okay, yeah, maybe it's like something with my real name, and sometimes, and I was like, all right, Giovanni's my real name, maybe I can use that. I was kind of, my friends call me Gio, and I was like, what goes good with Gio, right? And then I was like thinking mad long.
Davinci. No.
But all right, okay, Giovanni's an Italian name. I'm not Italian, I'm Puerto Rican, but Davinci's an artist. And it kind of just rings like when I said it.
Yeah.
Rings for sure. Yeah,
and then like when I said it to other people, it kind of just rolled out the tongue, and they were like, like right away.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's a good name. Yeah, has a nice rhythm to it, and it feels like it makes sense.
Yeah. And then so it's like one of those things that like when it happened, it just made sense, and been doing it ever since.
Cool. Yeah. How about you, Aaron?
Yeah. I think I was really inspired. Like, my love of hip hop was inspired by my older brother. My older brother, Andrew King, who's 4 years older than me. He was just really into hip hop growing up, and I kind of looked up to him, and he kind of set that as like, that's what's cool. And him and his friends were rapping from a young age, maybe when they were 12, 13 in like middle school, they were rapping already, freestyling and stuff like that. So I would just kind of like overhear that or see that, and and kind of get to sit in on their ciphers. But honestly, like, too intimidated. I'm too young and I'm too intimidated, Maybe I'm thinking of some rhymes in my head. The first time I ever actually remember writing lyrics, I was at a summer camp. It was just like a day camp, and they had Virtuoso, who's this OG Cambridge rapper, come in.
Yes.
They had hired him to do a little workshop with the kids, and so he came in, and I knew who he was, and I knew my brother knew. I was excited to go home and be like, Andrew, like, Virtuoso came in, and he was just like walking us through, and I came up with like a 4-bar at that point. Nice. So that was the first time I ever wrote. But then when my brother went to college and I was in high school, that's when me and my friends started freestyling. It was just kind of what everyone was doing. And one thing that I was thinking while you're asking the question was that I think like one of the reasons that one thing that always drew me to rapping was really almost like an escape. You know, it was something fun that me and my friends love to do, right? When we're done with school, on the weekends, right? Smoke and freestyle. And it's kind of always been like that for me, right? Then I went to college, and college was just, you know, a lot academically, and I'm under a lot of stress. And so I was just, you know, looking for opportunities to rap, whether it's just alone in my room, just practicing, you know, and even today, you know, like, you know, I work full time. And so, right, sometimes to unwind at the end of the day, you know, it's just like throw some beats on and just, you know, practice freestyle, you know, kind of the energy I feel when I'm like practicing a new verse of mine that I'm excited to perform. You know, that's like, there's nothing else that can get me out of just like kind of the 9-to-5 work mentality than that can. And so I think that's one of the reasons why I still rap and still love to rap. And yeah, like I don't produce a lot of my own music, and I don't have a lot of music out, so it's more just something I love to do, less so than kind of trying to build up a lot of music to release.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, one of my favorite musicians, he posted something about how, you know, a lot of his music is very like emotional and melodramatic, and he was like kind of responding to I don't know if it was responding to a specific person that had said that, or if he was just thinking in a tweet or a post or whatever, but he was like, you know, music is like one of the only places where you can completely get away with being extremely melodramatic and like personal and just like saying what you really think and really feel and believe. It's like one of the only acceptable, you know, fully acceptable ways to do that. And
poetry too, though.
Big time, yeah.
The arts in general.
Art in general, And I think about that a lot, especially.
Someone could have like a super dramatic painting of some crazy stuff happening or something. You know,
seen as more acceptable than just letting it out in random people
out,
telling
right?
people.
I like see myself as a fairly like calm, neutral person usually, but when I rap, it's a different animal. When I first started rapping, what I always like to write about was like, you know, coming at other rappers, was like the state of hip hop and how it's become all materialistic and no one's talking about anything for real anymore. So I would always like be writing about that, or I would be writing about political shit and how everyone's so, you know, everyone's so docile these days. No one's talking about real shit. And so I'll talk about politics. Now I love just talking about also like enjoying ourselves, talk about the cypher, talk about our life experience, just organizing. But I remember Leah was like, this persona, that's the only place I could speak my mind that way. I wouldn't just like get up on a soapbox otherwise. But
Yeah, I mean, most artists are going to want to branch out eventually and do something different. Otherwise, it just becomes the same thing redundant. Over and over. Yeah, redundant is a good word for it. Yeah.
It becomes boring and redundant. And sometimes, you know, all our artists, especially writers and probably musicians, I don't know, I can speak more for writers, like lyricists.
Right.
You come to a point where, like, you said what was on your mind.
Right.
And you've, like,
it's like, what do I say
like,
now?
consistently said what's right. And, like, you've articulated your stance in all your music.
Right.
And then now, like, you have to live some more in order to come up with a new body of work.
Yeah. I think that's a tension between, like, are you fully drawing on your own experience, or are you trying to, like, sort of filter the world's experience through you into something new, or I don't know. It's interesting.
Both.
Yeah.
It's both. Yeah. Right? Like, one of my things is on the same note about, like, writing and subject matter was being able to write about anything.
That was a goal of yours?
Yeah,
or that's...
to write about anything and make it sound interesting.
Totally,
right?
yeah.
Like, I would take, like, how can I make us sitting down doing a podcast with a table and the arms, how can I put that into a rhyme and make that sound interesting despite the fact that most people wouldn't think about doing that. Right?
Sure, yeah.
And rapping about anything, and then also rapping in almost any style that I can hear that I can practice in that kind of style, and that's something that I pride myself in, and that, like, I worked super hard at, is like being universal with what I can do.
Right.
But then, like, you hear like people like Aaron, like, he has like such a honed style in the subject matter that he does, which is impressive. Is another way that it makes me think, like, wow, like, okay, like. Yeah. There's so many different ways to be good, you know.
Absolutely, yeah.
And Jill, Jill's so adaptable.
Thank you.
She's always constantly growing and surpassing, just people around her and herself, like at the same time. Like we'll be in the studio and it'll be like this impromptu situation, and then like Jill's, and then like Jill, she just rises to the occasion, if there's a hurdle for Jill, it won't be there for long. She'll figure out how to.
Yeah,
get past it.
it's like a lot of people inspire me. My surroundings really inspire me. When I first started, it was very like Aaron was saying, like these other rappers are trash, da 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 da, and I got this money. Like one of my big things, like when I first started, was money, because the just, or the S in just, I made $sign to differentiate my name. So I was always talking about money. My first album I named $1 Billion Dreams. One of my homies came up with that. I was like, yeah, that's a good one. But yeah, so like when I originally started, that's like my subject matter. But it was also really, like Aaron was saying, just more expressing myself and like my feelings and what I'm going through at that moment. So it's always really like emotional.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily want to say traumatic experiences, but kind of like,
I understand. Yeah.
Going through the things you've gone through.
Yeah.
So a lot of that, but as of right now, just where I'm at and like finding my message and what I want to promote, and also just different styles. Like I love how Gio raps, and he has that old school like Ghostface flow a lot of times, and so I definitely like to bring back that boom bap style and match how he's doing it, or match how Aaron's doing it and his subject matter, because he talks about like, he's not talking about money, he's not talking about these other rappers, unless it's like but yeah, like, so I really try to listen to my surroundings, and I get inspired a lot of my surroundings with other artists.
That makes sense.
She ain't coming for us. Sometimes I'm on a track with Jill, and I'm like,
Yeah, she be coming for throw sometimes.
she coming up for the top spot? Like, I gotta, hold on. All right, my verse is still good. All right.
Speaking of that, have you ever all recorded a song together on the same song?
Yes.
Power Circle, let's go.
Nice. Power
Yes,
Circle.
yeah, that was
Cool.
one thing. Like, we get so focused on the ciphers, we're always in like grind mode.
Yeah.
So 2023 is when we really started, like, you know what, like, we're still artists. We need to do
Right.
some stuff together.
Yeah.
So I dropped my album called Womanhood in last July.
Cool.
And I think it's my third song. It's called Power Circle. And it's basically about me, Gio, and Aaron, and how our experience with the cypher, how we've been grinding, our ups and our downs, and how we're here for each other. So we each put our own experience into that, and it came out fire. And it was one of the the hottest songs that was liked when I dropped my album.
That's
as
amazing.
far as
Right.
like insights go and stuff. A lot of people like Power Circle, and
Cool.
I think we're waiting for a song with the three of us. So
Yeah.
Very
cool.
I really enjoy
Womanhood
performing.
on all platforms.
Yeah, womanhood on all platforms. So
Yeah, that was the first time we actually like really all recorded a track together. But we do have a few tracks that we perform together, and we have experience performing so often in the cypher. Like, we almost have fully improvised songs at this point, where there's beats where we'll all have different verses, or we'll all be able to collaborate. So I think there's a lot of songs we could probably record at this point, and hopefully soon we'll kind of maybe almost put together a little project together, or at least release a few tracks together. That'd be dope.
Yeah. No, you guys have great like energy together, so I think that's a good
Thank you.
idea.
I appreciate that. Yeah, you've edited some of the audio for like some of our shows, right?
Yeah, a handful. I don't remember exactly which ones,
Was
but
it just?
yeah.
Did you also see the video, or you were just doing the audio?
I don't
Okay.
see the video when I'm doing the editing and mixing and stuff, but
Nice.
I will see. I don't go on Instagram as much as I should
Sure.
as the studio or whatever, but I will very often see the videos, and it's cool to see it like all come together.
That's
It's like, oh, that's what that
interesting-
person looks like and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Put a face to the voice.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's the question I want to ask you, right? Like being an engineer in a position where like you're You know, usually, you know, I don't know if you do that a lot or if you're usually like editing something where like it's a show with a bunch of different rappers that are going back and forth. But like, how was that experience for you? What impression did it give you of the show? Like just the audio, not the video, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, me and Pete, who's behind the cameras, we were at one of the Starlight Square, right?
Yes.
Yeah, one of those events
The
with the
homies.
live band and everything, and that was really cool.
We met. I think we came up and you guys was like, yeah, you got to do something in Everett, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. I think we did briefly meet
2022, that's
before.
when we
That was
first
a while.
met.
That was a while ago. Yeah. You just came point dap and you was, yo, it's a great show. We have something in Everett. Okay, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, here we
Legit.
are.
You guys are legit.
Yeah.
You meet so many people that like, you know.
Yeah. It's hard at a place like that when you're like, who is that?
I remember
You know, so
now,
many
right.
people.
Building bridges.
Yeah. But no, that was my first, exposure to you all, and I thought that event was like really awesome. At that point, I thought they were all like the live band and everything, but I think it's cool that you have like different settings, different, vibes and stuff. I don't remember exactly how I started doing some of the.
So you had already had some experience. It's not just this random thing where like you're like, oh, like
that was just us going, but I don't think I did any of the audio for that.
Right.
I could be wrong. I think someone else did the audio, but
No, I mean, I think we met in 2022 when y'all first came through, and Pete had the camera, which was dope.
That's right.
And we turned that into some footage. There was kind of a collab on that. After that, you all helped produce the first Hot Girl Cypher video, full 2 hours, which we have out now. And I think almost all of our ciphers this year, you've been the audio engineer. So shout out Sean,
cool.
shout out Firekeeper.
Yes.
It really has elevated our videos to have the audio engineering touch, because before, we didn't really have that really professional. It sounded all right, and when you're watching a video, I think you have less standards for the audio when you're watching a video, but I think pulling it together, it's definitely been, a way that we've elevated the videos, so it's dope. And I thought about the same thing about how you don't really know what the video's like or what it looks like. You're just kind of listening, but
Right.
I think it's come out really cool. So
awesome. No, happy to hear that. Yeah, no, it's been really cool to do all of them and or a lot of them, and it is kind of a different task from just mixing a song that someone comes into the studio and records. There's different things you're thinking about. Usually the mic technique is variable. Like one person will be like this and the next person will be holding it 6 feet away somehow, and it's like, what? So you have to strike a balance, and there might be some noise removal that you wouldn't necessarily have to do in the studio setting, and you're not trying to get it to sound like a top 40 record. You're more trying to be like, okay, it sounds good, and that's that's okay. That's the goal.
Right.
Yep. And on that same note, Jill, let's go. My fault.
No, you're good.
When you're doing it live, and you're mixing it, and you're trying to make it so that the crowd can hear everybody, and everyone has different levels that they're speaking at on the mic, right? Yeah. Someone would be like really loud, right, and another person is really more subdued, right? Kind of like tough. This. And so there's the master that into the speakers, and then so I turn out, with some people you're constantly turning up or down, and that's with what we're doing is unique, right? Because could be anybody on the microphone, whereas a regular show is kind of the acts, right? They come early, you already got their levels pre-planned, and so it's really a unique thing where you're constantly adjusting the levels of the microphone to kind of fit through the speakers on how quiet somebody is or how loud somebody is. And
I think especially when we have live bands, that's a whole nother, because it's sometimes the band, they're really going off, and in the moment it's we're getting it. But then you go to the audio, and then it's oh, this band is actually way too loud. We can't hear ourselves. Wait, we gotta call you.
At least with a band, usually the mics aren't moving too much. It's you got the mic on the amp, that's not moving. You got the mic on the drums, those aren't moving. But with the vocalist, everyone's different volumes and everyone's holding it a bit differently, and you can't have an audio engineer like the live sound person can't be like out to lunch because like they might it could completely like change from one person to the next.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like you have to make sure it's not clipping, but make sure people can also hear them. Yeah, and it's a balance. And but then after a while, you get the roster together. You're like, all right, this guy's loud, right? You gotta turn this down.
Right.
Or this guy's
what's gonna happen.
It's just been such a journey, since 2018. Like you should see the speaker we had in 2018, which was like, the technology has also improved. So it's tough because we have to do so much stuff battery powered. We're out in the middle of nowhere. We don't even have a plug-in, right? So relying on equipment that's fully battery powered. So many different artists have different projections, hold the mics differently, and it's cool to finally get to the point where we do have a little bit of the budget, right, where we can outsource the audio engineering at the end, right, where we can hire a sound tech to be there on day of with the right equipment, who, like you said, at every moment has that volume knob on the 3 different mics and stuff. And so, I think that has elevated it a lot. But at the same time, man, we was killing it when it was just like the speaker, no mic, and people just going off. So, but it's been a process to kind of see the kind of ad hoc production style that we have evolve. So
that's one of the funny things about audio engineering, like in general, whether it's live or in the studio, because like ultimately, like I am aware that like my job is just dressing, and like what really matters and what people are actually going to the music for is the content, like the music, the words, the lyrics, the performance. It's not. The mixing is like trying to present it in the best way possible. But I'm just there to assist. And ultimately, if the performance and the energy isn't there, there's no point.
You're right. Yeah, you have to deliver it correctly. But I would say that also a mix could take something to a completely different level.
That's true. Yeah, I don't mean to undersell it, because it can. The difference between like a rough and like a finished master can sometimes just be like astronomical, and it's like, this is actually a song, and I didn't think it was even, I didn't think it was anything before.
I think we all think of these things because we're all very like behind the scenes people when we're not like performing. So
for the first time, I gave Sean the green light to add effects to the audio of the Cypher. And up until now, I never do that. I try to keep it as raw as possible, almost stylistically, right? Like, look, I want you to feel like you're in the street listening to this person. But it was fun, seeing what you did, add in some doubles in some areas, or add in some echo or delay here or there, add in some little flavor on top, and showed it to people. And people didn't even realize why it was different or what had elevated, but then I'm like, I told Sean, and they're like, oh man, that's sick. It sounds like a professionally produced track, basically, while it's also this live recording. So it's been nice.
Cool. What do you want to see from the Bridgeside?
What do I want to see? That's a good question, putting me in the hot seat now. I mean, I think it'd be really fun to submit one of my beats. I think that'd be fun. I don't do a ton of production, but I'm trying to do a little more, as we're going to highlight today, hopefully. But I'd love to see one of my beats get used. That'd be really cool.
Definitely,
so, something to talk about.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, as soon as you said that, I was like, word, because that's another aspect. We're always looking for beats to go through and listen to and like support local producers in that way as well, because it's so important, and we need that too. There's so many different aspects that make it. It's not only like artists, like it's the artists, it's the producers, and it's the fans, and so we're always looking for beats. So.
For producers at home, we're looking for beats. Send them over. Send us a playlist. If we like one and we end up using one, we'll pay you to lease it. So
we're gonna put the email right here. On the screen.
We have we have producers hit us up like, what can we do? Like, just send us some to check out, and we'll see if there's a good fit. So
what makes a good? I was gonna ask, like, what makes a good beat for a cypher for the producers out there?
That's a good question. I think one thing is that we always try and choose a few different styles of beats for each monthly video shoot, so that there's different styles of hip hop that can be represented. So we'll usually try to do an old school boom bap, around 90 BPM type vibes. Maybe like a more jazzy vibe where singers could get on R&B. Maybe that's like lower 80s BPM. And then there's something that's, I guess you could consider fast tempo, whether it's like 70 or 140 BPM, so that people could hit like a double time flow and stuff. So we usually try and represent those three. And then one is that like it does need to be well produced, partly because sometimes we're outside with these battery powered speakers, and so while some things could get produced later, it doesn't, if the composition of it is good, if it doesn't like really, if it isn't like really well mastered, then it's a problem because it's too quiet on our speakers out there. So that's one thing we've realized, and where there are beats that are sick, but maybe like the final master, just like it's not very loud or doesn't really hit, or when we turn it up, it kind of crackles. That's one thing I've realized is like we do need it to sound pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good point. You need it to be like at the right level for live playback, and for it to not be way louder or softer than other things. Yeah.
I got something to add to that, but I don't want to just jump in. Jill, you got something to say?
No, I'm good.
Kind of checking anyway, everybody. I think that I agree with what you're saying about it being mastered well. That's 100% the case. Another one is the beat has to be confident in what it's doing. Meaning, if it's a hype beat, right? Like it has to hit us and make us feel hype. If it's trying to do that, you know what I mean? If it's a super chill beat, right, it has to be committed to be a super vibey beat, right? Or if it's a trap beat with some crazy drums and it like, I feel like, like it has to have a direction that it's gonna make people feel when they hear it.
Right.
Yeah, like consistency.
Yeah, like commit. Like, certain beats we hear, and as soon as you hear it, you rock in a certain way. Like, I gotta spit some, some hardcore boom bap to this, or like I gotta spit something that this makes me feel like I'm on the highway driving, right? Something like that. Like
it's like that more immediate emotional, like, oh, I know what this is.
Yeah. Oh, like
especially for a cypher, maybe it's not the time to have something where it's like, oh, I'm not quite sure how this is making me, like, that can be a beautiful thing, but maybe not for a cypher. Or
something a little bit more subdued, right? That's or like even when I spit rhymes, right? When you spit rhymes in a cypher, you want to spit the rhymes that is going to be kind of engaging at first, like as soon as possible, So I think what it'd be, you would want something to be hitting. And not its peak, but like you want to get sold as soon as possible on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I think that's really like a good sort of take home like piece of advice for producers who want to do cypher stuff. Yeah. I like that.
For sure.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about the song that we're about to put down?
So I mean,
Gio's verse was written first.
My verse was written first.
So we'll go in order.
Right.
Then I sent it to them, and I don't know if we did a hook, just maybe bars, I wasn't entirely sure on what the format would be,
right?
On whether it would be like a morning show or a radio show where we're spitting right here and you would have the beat right there,
That's
or
fair.
it would be in the booth,
right?
Yeah.
And so we kind of just wrote in the same subject matter. That's why we kind of send each other the lyrics, and it's just about friendship and what we would do for the Bridgeside and everything we sacrifice and holding it down.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear it. I haven't heard any of the vocals yet or lyrics or anything.
Yeah.
So
What were you thinking about, like the beat wise? Like what was your vibe on the beat?
I shared with Aaron this pack of like melodies and stuff, and this is how I've been doing the beats for the podcast. Is like we start with like a melody kind of song starter. It's got like the chords, the melodies, the bass, all that, and then the artist in question will be like, okay, I like this one. Let's kind of see where this can go, and with this one, I kind of was figuring like something that has heart, because I feel like Bridgeside has a lot of heart. So I was like, let's kind of go in that direction of like a little more, I guess I would call it like boom bap, kind of old school feel for sure. It's got a pretty prominent like live drum, like acoustic live breakbeat thing, like propelling the drums, and that's the heart of the drums is this like breakbeat, but there's also like it's got the toms and there's like kicks and snares that are like reinforcing this breakbeat, and Yeah, and I think the main melody is like two different guitar melodies like chopped up and like interwoven.
Yeah.
So it kind of like bounces back and forth from like one melody to another. And the only reason for that was actually just that I wanted to use one guitar melody, but it just wasn't long enough. So I was like, okay, let me add another one in. But it actually ended up being cool because you have this like back and forth kind of feel.
Yeah, it's pretty like jazzy.
Right. Like I think with like my verse, I really at first I was like, oh, I don't know. But then like Gio sent me his, and he always like really helps me out. Like it's always nice to hear when you're doing a collaborative song, of course, like always hearing the other person's verse. So there's some chemistry there. So like he wrote his verse first, and I was like, okay, like this is like we can work with this. Like this is the topic. I also I think the name of the beat was Dream Team Complete.
This dream.
This dream. Yeah.
What, is that what it was?
Complete being, it was the complete version, but you know.
Oh, was it? I thought it was like the dream is complete.
I think that's the name of the song.
Oh wow. Okay. Well,
this dream complete.
Whatever.
This dream complete is the name. Yep.
Okay. All right.
You're right,
Cool.
you're right.
I was
honestly, I get a little boost whenever I write complete at the end because I'm like, all
cool.
the beats
that's what I got
yeah.
from it. I've always liked the dream team complete or whatever.
No,
the dream's
that's
complete.
Cool. Yeah.
So that's
complete,
usually when
experience points.
Right, yeah. And that was one of the things, like, from the title of the beat, I figured, like, Dream Team, like Gio and Jill.
Nice.
Complete. So I also kind of base it off of the name of the beat a lot of times.
Cool.
I think a lot of artists do that, but...
The name always inspires you for sure.
Yeah.
I do that a lot. All right, word. They figured it out. I'm right about that.
Yeah.
I remember you sent us those melodies, and me and Gio flipped through a few, and when we found that one, we were like, all right, this is the one, clearly.
Cool.
I feel like it's like, it has inspirational tones, almost like underdog story, you know? That's kind of what I think about. And, you know, we had done the Power Circle track recently. The Power Circle track, it's a little bit more maybe aggressive, you know, or it's a little bit, so the tone's a little different. And so I thought this was cool to kind of come together and have a track that's a little bit more, you know, just representative of kind of our personalities. I think we definitely knew this would be one of the first times the three of us was on a podcast like this. And so that was almost the theme or our mindset when we were writing it, you know, knowing that it might reflect a little bit of our story and kind of where we are right now in our journey through Bridgeside. So
awesome.
Great point. That captured it for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm super excited to hear this. Y'all want to get into it?
Let's do it.
Ready, y'all.
Let's do it.
Cool.
Yes.
Thanks a lot for talking.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Cool. Let's get into this
Let's drop
performance.
this.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Like I said, man, this has been Bridgeside, right? Look at Instagram, Bridge.
Give us the handle.
Yes, so you can find us at Bridge Cypher, so it's Bridge CYPH. You can also find us at Cambridge Hip Hop. Bridge Cypher is where we have most of the videos and the content. So yeah, definitely follow us at Bridge Cypher. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. YouTube got a ton of great videos. So yeah.
We got the TikTok now.
We got the TikTok. We're figuring out TikTok.
Yeah. And we'll get back, you know, we're throwing events now, but we really get going kind of in the warmer months, and we'll be throwing, you know, outdoor ciphers and probably at least 2 events a month anytime from between April and October. So just come out, you know, get involved. You don't need to hit up the Instagram and ask for permission or ask for how to get involved. Just come through. You know, all of our events are open mic. Almost the video shoots, all you have to do is kind of hit us up before and let us know you want to get involved, and it's that simple.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Sweet.
Shout out Firekeeper.
Yeah, shout out Firekeeper. Thank you so much.
Yeah, keeping the fire hot. Yeah. What's up? We back. It's the Bridgeside. A new season. I'm willing to risk it all for the Bridgeside. Cause we family, there's more than rapping happening when we snapping on this side, pulling up with our fists high in solidarity while bad actors treat conversation as parody. 5 years, 1 mission, married to the game, but I'm done kissing. Leave that boy alone, something wrong with him. Truth is, got a couple screws missing. I still figured it out with the power of passion. Someone forgot to tell them about the law of attraction. Picked up the phone, said, baby, what happened? Had another dream, we woke up in a mansion. Yeah, hard work stacks up like yard work. Green, got me feeling like Farnsworth. Ain't no telling what it's all worth.
And to stop us, they gon' have to call the law first. Alright, Gio, AK and Jill, that's the trio. Bridgeside and Firekeeper, here we go. Yo, when I first started out, I was trying to get involved. Bet on myself, then I bet on the squad. Never would've dreamed that I would find this. Best friend sitting trans, working with the city's finest. Jill like a sister, Gio like a brother. We got dozens of cousins, it's a fam like no other. Never judge you for the family that you bring. Welcome to the Cypher, this the family reunion. And if you missed last year, ain't no broken bonds. We're still right here to welcome you with open arms. So come in, coat off, and take a seat. We got the fire roaring, keep the fire on the beat. All three bringing heat, but none of us conceded. Nothing to delete, this is all I ever needed. Truth is, I'll never drop a platinum album. Who cares? Never wished for another outcome.
Hey, let's go. 1, 2, 3. Jilly G. End off strong. Let's go, yo. Y'all should keep up, my dream team won't stop a thing. AK drafted us, we've been in our own league. Rappers spitting about dope pills and crime scenes. I'm making waves by boosting ladies' self-esteem. And they feel me, y'all can hear me through the speakers. Hottest ever, fellas hate me now like the ether. Got the full package, so you know that she's a keeper. So in my element, so I prove it at Firekeeper. Yep, I got the sauce, so let me spice things up. Grown men boiling mad cause they ain't for it tough. Make it look easy so they can't afford to be tough. Get my message across and I'd be nice as fuck. Yup, I see the bigger picture and it's not about me. Solidify my plans, lay them out like concrete. Then check off the boxes listed on the sheets. Connect communities, makes the mission complete. Yup, Bridgeside. Cambridge Hip Hop. Yup, Firekeeper Studios. Appreciate y'all. That was it. I think that was it.
Hey, thanks for listening. You can find the Bridgeside Cypher at Bridgecyph on Instagram, which is BRIDGECYPH. The Cambridge Hip Hop Collective is at Cambridge Hip Hop. Aaron King is at Aaron King Music. Gio Davinci is at It's Gio Davinci. And Just Jill is at SillyJillyX3 on Instagram. You can find us at firekeeper.studios on Instagram or at our website, firekeeperstudios.com. Check out Pete's website for videography, peterdebarrosfilms.com, or his Instagram at KillPeteFilms. Peace.